Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 43 years. I'm going through the lessons again this year. I've done this several times before, and in fact, I will put in the description my previous contemplation. But today I contemplated this with Jesus, asking for clarity, and then I write from my clarity. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we're looking at lesson 97, I am spirit. I think an extremely important lesson. I am spirit. I've been writing about our identity as spirit since we started these lessons because I do understand that our problem is one of identity. When we accept that we are as opposed what we are as opposed to what we made to take the place of God's creation, there will be no more problems and no more suffering in this life. It is truly that easy. Our apparent problems sometimes loom so large that it's hard to believe the solution could be so simple. But let's look at it more closely. As bodies, we seem to be separate with separate interests. Thus, life becomes a competition. For some, the goal is to protect their income, for instance. This may have an unexpected reach. Because we are apparently separate, the tendency could be to care about one's own interest without concern for how that affects others. After all, what business is it of yours? They have to take care of themselves. Let's reduce taxes, even if it means some will have little to eat and do without health care and other basic needs. Here's another example of the effects of thinking we're separate. I used to hear a siren and stop what I was doing to mentally place each of my kids. I wanted to be sure that bad luck had not come to visit them, and it never occurred to me that I should be concerned about the children of others. Or if it did, it was more like my kids first, then others. That was because I used to believe there were others. These days, that sounds ridiculous, knowing as I do that we are one, always one, regardless of appearances. I still feel like a separate personal self, but at other times I feel like spirit. I continue to practice these lessons so that I begin to feel only like spirit. At least I know which is the truth, even if I still get lost in separation thinking. It's an odd feeling, like being part of the story, and at the same time, being aware of feeling like part of the story, like I'm in the story, but also watching the story. Maybe that's the way it is for a while until I feel more rooted in my true identity. Jesus says that today, while I practice this lesson, I bring reality closer. In fact, he says I could save 1,000 years just by doing the practice. The Holy Spirit will offer all his strength to every little effort that I make. Some days I need to know that I'm not alone and that I am being helped because some days it feels hard. I know that it is an illusion. How could it be hard to be what I am? But still, I'm glad that I have helpers. Paragraph 5 and 6 motivate me to do my best. The Holy Spirit will be glad to take 5 minutes of each hour from your hands and carry them around this aching world where pain and misery appear to rule. He will not overlook one open mind that will accept the healing gifts they bring, and he will lay them everywhere he knows they will be welcome. And they will increase in power each time someone accepts them as his thoughts and uses them to heal. I love that last sentence. And they will increase in healing power each time someone accepts him as his thoughts and uses them to heal. And in paragraph 6, he says, thus will each gift to him be multiplied 1,000-fold and tens of thousands more. And when it is returned to you, it will surpass in might the little gift you gave, as much as does a radiance of the sun outshine the tiny gleam a firefly makes in an uncertain moment and goes out. The steady brilliance of this light remains and leads you out of darkness, nor will you be able to forget the way again. I used to think that this life was about me and that I needed the willpower to ensure that it took the form I thought I needed. If I could be of help to others along the way, I would do that, at least as long as I got what I needed first. That thinking is no longer part of my strategy for a happy life. I see now that everyone's happiness is as important to me as my own, because we are all connected despite our apparent separation. And this lesson, along with others, gives me a way out of ego confusion, as it helps everyone do the same. At the same time I'm helped, others are helped. And as it returns to me, it has increased exponentially in power. Of course, I'm going to practice this lesson. Why would I not? Spirit in my Holy Son of God, free of all limits, safe and healed and whole, free to forget and free to save the world. Thank you so much for joining me in this reading. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, then please like it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And I'll be back soon with another reading. See you then.